Alright, testing mic, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Everything seems to be working. I recently shaved, like a day yesterday actually. So if you watched my previous stream, you would have known that already. But, this, because of the timed nature of these recordings for the One Piece chapter reactions, I always try to put these out first, so this will probably be out mid-tomorrow, before I even start editing the most recent stream. Because I still haven't even edited 2 streams ago yet. I'm basically always 4 days behind, at fastest, whatever I've streamed, when I've started streaming this often a week. It's not usual that I get to stream 4 times a week. I don't usually have this much free time. But anyway, it's 11 p.m. on the 20th of July. My dad's birthday is this week. I sent him a nice little gift, and I'm debating whether or not I reveal what that is on stream, because my brother might be watching this, and I don't want to reveal anything yet. It should be arriving on Thursday, so look forward to that. Maybe I'll talk about that in the next stream. Or maybe I won't, because I probably will have time to stream tomorrow. Anywho, it's time to start reading One Piece chapter 1155. We have a color spread this time, so we'll talk about that in a minute, but at least a brief recap of what happened last time. Last time we continued the Loki flashback, and last time we ended on Rocks showing up. That ends the recap. Everything else more important than that, you can go watch my reaction and I'll talk about it in more detail there. It's on the YouTube channel. I usually record these the day of or the day after that the chapter comes out, and they're usually always out within a day. Anyway, if you would like to know what I'm going to be doing when I'm going to do it, just keep track of when One Piece chapters come out. I'm definitely going to react to them. But if it's a non-One Piece chapter reaction thing, the best way to stay informed would be to join the Discord, links to which will be where links are. I will not insult your intelligence by telling you where they are. You can be smart and figure that out on your own. Anywho, let's go talk about this color spread on page 1. No page 1 on page 1, so this chapter is already in my books. That's a point off. 9 out of 10, not enough page 1. No page 1 on page 1. That's a failure on advertising. Anywho, this color spread looks great. Usopp is heavily featured, which makes me hope that Usopp will be featured in this chapter. But I still think we're going to be in the Loki flashback, so my hopes of that are actually really low. So it's Luffy and Usopp taking up the majority of the frame as Luffy swings in from out of frame, while everyone else in the background seems to be on a building that's connected to another building via a ladder. They seem to be very high up in the air, and there seem to be birds that look like penguins flying around, which is kind of funny to think about because penguins are flightless birds. We got Nami with Jinbei. There's a green penguin with goggles that reminds me of Zoro during Skypiea. I miss Zoro's goggles. He had a cool phase where he was wearing goggles, and I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see that continue. Usopp been rocking goggles since Logtown. Anywho, Robin and Chopper are on the ladder. Sanji is spread out, reaching for Nami, and Frankie is waving. Okay. Brooke playing the violin as usual. Beyond that, I don't see anything else too fancy about this. Maybe there's a note somewhere about who requested this cover art, or if this is just cover art that somebody came up with. Anyway, that's it for page 1. Let's move on to page 2. Page 2, what's the chapter title? Chapter 1155, The Rocks Pirates! Hey! That's a title that I bet some people have been waiting for almost 7 years, I guess. Rocks was first introduced, I believe, during, what was it, like, the Dressrosa arc? Or, like, just before or during the Reverie? I don't remember, but, like, they have not been known. We've been knowing that there was a lurking legend in the story from, like, as early as, like, Fishman Island or whatever, but I don't think we've actually known about Rocks for all too long. In the grand scheme of things. In, like, real life time, it's been, like, several years. We've been in Wano for, like, 4 or 5 years. Alrighty. Alright. So page 2 and 3, there's nothing on page 2 but the logo, so it's just page 3. Yeah, this is Elbaph, but my dad ain't here. He's on expedition. Are you puny humans? I've never seen your kind before. You really do scurry around. Somebody said, haha, you're adorable. Who said that? I'm gonna assume it's Stussy. Wait, did you say Dad? You Harold's kid? Even on an expedition, you can still get in touch with them. What's your name? Loki. Okay, Loki. You're gonna do as I say. Go back home right now and get someone to contact your old man. Here's the message you tell them to pass on. Loki is gravely wounded. Return to Elbaph at once. Since when do I have to listen what humans say? Also, Loki still hasn't bandaged up his eyes yet, so it makes me wonder when he's going to start doing that. Okay, well that's it for page 3, since there was nothing on page 2. Which means this is going to be a bit of a shorter chapter since we have an entire blank page, basically. Page 4 it is. And yesterday's stream there was some problems with my mic, so I'm going to have to go back and check the recording on that. But hopefully there's no problems with the mic today, because I'm going to be talking into it for the next 30 minutes probably. Oh, the black paneling ends, which means we're probably going to cut back to the present. Plus, it's not like Dad would come back home just because I got hurt. Stop ordering me around, you little weakling. Rox's sword attacks were famous for blasting everything in sight, like a gigantic hammer or a cannonball. Okay, so he smacked Loki with a sword like a cannonball. Ha 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 ha. What did I just say? Loki's gone and gotten wounded. This madman had crossed Harald's path at the Reverie one year. 5 kings have been attacked and captured. So we're having a flashback in the flashback? Okay. It's totally not... It's a big no-no in writing to do this, but... This is a manga. Oda can do what he wants. 5 kings have been attacked and captured. It's an abduction. They were taken by a large man dressed in black. The lives of kings are no threat to Mu. So Imu is here. And Imu is talking to the hunched-over servant. I suppose not, but your Holy Land is in a panic. In a historical anomaly never repeated before or since, someone infiltrated the Chamber of Flowers at the very core of the Holy Land. So it looks like Rox ran into Imu and the servant, and now we get a close-up panel of this servant. They have a veil. They have a mask that's embroidered like a doily on both cases. And they have heterochromia, meaning that the servant that directly serves Imu is probably Gunko. This looks like Gunko, but with a lot longer hair. Could be Gunko's mom, but I'm considering like the pseudo-immortality the Holy Knights have. I'm just going to assume this is Gunko unless told otherwise. And that is the end of pages 4 and 5. The man described himself as a worshipper of Davy Jones. He did not have anything more than this, as he knew he could not. But before he departed, he left a warning. I will be back. Ooh, that's a nice close-up on his face. Right here. So he told Imu to his face, I will be back. What, did he ever come back, though? Naturally, word of this incident never saw the light of day, but as it happens, one other man infiltrated the Holy Land at the same time. Look at him, he's far bigger than a giant. I desired him for a slave. No, he should be killed and stuffed for display. Guards, protect your lieges. Fine. Talks are off. I apologize for trespassing, but is this really necessary? Don't let the king abductor get away. Oh, that wasn't me. Okay, so Harold's getting blamed for whatever Rox did. He abducted 5 kings. The admiral's been defeated. His attacker went to the palace. Be wary. So wait, I'm assuming it's still Rox that did that, unless Harold's gonna get get blamed for that too. What's all this hubbub about? Bring me the big one. That's an ugly-looking celestial dragon, and that is a sentence that I'm sure many people have said before. He must be the one who kidnapped the kings. I'm not gonna be the fall guy. I'll seize him, man. A giant in the Holy Land. Is this guy lost or something? Wait, I thought you were how he got here. Do you not know who Harold is at this point in the flashback? Alright, pages 8 and 9. We're basically halfway done. Whoa, look at Harold swinging that giant sword. This clash between strangers eradicated any sign of others for 5 kilometers around. So they had a hockey clash that knocked everyone out for 5 kilometers? That's nuts. Name yourself. I am Harold. I'm Rox. Aim at the town with the next blow. If they capture us, they'll turn you into a slave. What? Why? Don't think, just do it. Interesting. So they're going to use their fight to cause a chaotic incident. And that's pages 10 and 11. There's a lot of big panel spreads on here. A page-and-a-half spread. 2 page-and-a-half spread panels there. Made that a really short page. Okay, so this is page 10 and 11. Which way is Elbaph? New World's that way. You survived. Let's meet again, Harold. Never. I don't consort with villains. What, you jumped off? The Navy Admiral that Rox had just struck down perished of his wounds despite emergency measures. After his many crimes of the day, Rox's name launched into infamy, and his deeds stunned the rest of the world. Alright, now we're flashing forward to an undisclosed time in the period that's between a year and now. So, he attacked a ship laden with heavy tributes on route to Sacred Marijoa. Not only that, he destroyed the Gate of Justice and fled once again. He destroyed the Gate of Justice! With this ship and money as initial base to work, Rox dove into the pirating business. His activities were always hostile towards the government, but his first target was actually another pirate ship. Who was he fighting? In the pirating world, there had long existed a famous and merciless game played between crews. Oh, we're gonna get the Davy back fight, right? Yep, the Davy back fight consisted of various competitions in which pirates gambled the fate of crewmates and flags. Rox made good use of this game to assemble a very solid lineup for himself. So he assembled the Rox Pirates via Davy back fights. Oh boy, oh boy. Randy Troy is gonna love this chapter. Hell, I'm enjoying it. They've got someone amazing, you guys are gonna be shocked. At this point, his motley crew of miscreants flew no flag. And that was when they arrived at Elbaph. So they weren't even a pirate crew. They were just people that went around stealing crewmates from other crews. Ooh, big spread on 12 and 13. Arust Castle, Elbaph. I hurried back as soon as I could. But you're already nearly healed up. What a relief. I know you're a very strong boy, Loki. You should stay away from the underworld. You're lucky you only fell from a cliff this time. There are plenty of other dangers that could befall you there. Man, he actually cares about Loki quite a bit. The last chapter did not really portray him as a good father. I can't believe Dad actually came back. Well, it's just a coincidence, right? He wouldn't come back just to see me. Rox, I heard all about your exploits. What are you doing here? Been dying to see you, pal. You should join me, Harold. The world government's not gonna hear you out anyway. Didn't you learn that lesson last time? Okay. Nonsense, the day I team up with a band of infamous rogues like you is the day our allies lose all faith in us. Just appreciate the feast. Okay. So Shiki, just appreciate the feast. Who is this guy? I don't recognize this guy. I don't recognize a lot of these people. There's some guy with a cigar and like a fedora. There's a guy with like golden armor. There's a guy with like cape that looks like a vampire. You can see Newgate in the back. What, so you'd rather be ground beneath the world government's heel? I'm looking for a way to avoid that. We ought to be equals, every one of us. Now you're talking sense, Harold. Elbaph is a nation of almighty warriors. Anything you don't like, you can just smash to bits. So that's the king of Elbaph. Munch Munch. Well, this is a very big panel with not much happening. But it's got a really big, beautiful spread, and I look forward to seeing it in color someday. I like the guy that's eating a bunch of grapes, and each grape is like the size of a cannonball. Alright. Ooh, we're getting name panels on this page, page 1415, and we're still not done. That's ancient history. Elbaph is changing. People's nature doesn't ever change. I know that fighting blood is in your veins bubbling over. Can't we at least eat in peace, Newgate? If you people follow this man, only disaster awaits you. Follow this fool. Don't make me laugh. We're all individuals. If Rox dies, it won't affect us in the... It won't affect the rest of us in the least. Mobster. Shiki. Future Golden Lion. So he's the mobster. We have no idea what Shiki's origins are. That's true, but his plan is very appealing to me. We're set to make a killing. Science Robber. Miss Buckin. Buckingham Stussy. You know about Full Ed, that island of exiles, they call it Pirate Island. They ship out all the hardened criminals there that the countries can't handle on their own. In prisons. Oh, so that's a bit of backstory for how Full Ed was founded. It was basically just a place where people dumped their leftover criminals. So Full Ed Island is anime Australia. Cool. Gangster of the West Blue, Don Marlone. Well, that's a new name. It was supposed to be a deserted island without food, where the damned simply wait to die. Edward Newgate, future Whitebeard. Pirate. Oh, here's the name I've been waiting to see. But in recent years, they survived and built up a settlement there. How do you think that happened? Pirate Guru, Wang Zhi, future Commodore of Pirate Island. So the vampire-looking guy I saw in the previous spread, that's Wang Zhi. Cool. Now we just gotta find out who Silver Axe is. Turns out there's a gold lode under that island. When the criminal underworld found out, they rushed to help mine it, and the prisoners made themselves a fortune. The government's seeing red. Pirate Smuggler, Ganzui. That's a new name. So, two new names here. We have Don Marlone and Ganzui. Ganzui was the guy eating grapes on the previous page. Or what I assume are giant Elbaph grapes. Because they're eating on what is effectively... We get a big zoom out on a bottom panel of this page. So the place that they're all eating at, they're sitting at a dinner table. Literally, they're on the dinner table of a giant in Oris Castle. That island's crawling with vicious brigands. Get anyone near it and they'll rob you blind. So we made a deal with the government. I says to them, if we get that island back, how much will you give us? If they're willing to pay us, sure, we'll go and raid Pirate Island and split the treasure between us. But we ain't giving the government the island or the prisoners. I'm gonna rule over Full Ed. And I'll get the idiots who live there to help me build Pirate's Paradise. Can't you just see the dumbfounded looks on the government's and Navy's faces? And we know that he succeeds in this. Because that's basically what Pirate Island or Full Lead Island was known as in the future. It was basically the kingdom of pirates. Makes me wonder what's going to be on the next page, because this is going to be the last 2 pages. There we go, 1617. This is just the prologue to my life. With that island as my base, I'll wipe out the Navy and bring the Holy Land to its knees in the end. I'll be the king of the world. You're making an enemy out of the entire world. It's too much to handle. Go ahead and doubt me. Sooner or later, someone's going to do it. There's no authority in the world that lasts forever. Let's go, Harold. If we're team up, we're unstoppable. Save your breath. I'm a king. You think I care? The world. Let's go and take over the world. And the next thing Loki knew, his outlook on life had been saved. 4 years later, after Harold ignored repeated invitations, Rox finally carried out his plan. The formidable lineup that joined him caused the world to quake with terror. Let's get going, boys! Alrighty, the era of Rox starts now. What a way to end a chapter. So it looks like we're probably still going to have one more chapter. Let's get into the predictions and highlights section. It's starting to look like we have at least one more chapter of this flashback before we cut back to the present day. This was the epic speech that basically gave Loki a new lease on life. Also, it looks like after the strike with Rox, Loki has his eyes bandaged, which means Rox is the one that damaged his eyes. Which is interesting. And Harold kind of just tolerated Rox, but desperately Rox wanted Harold on the crew because he considered Harold to be about equal in strength to him. So I'm starting to see an interesting parallel between Rox. I'm going to go back to that page real quick. Yeah, there's like an interesting parallel between like Rox and Harold that parallels like Whitebeard and Odin. Or possibly even like Whitebeard and Roger later on. Rox really clearly sees Harold as an equal and someone that he wants to team up with. He recognizes his power, and that seems to be what he seems to value more than anything. Rox is definitely somebody that just wants power. He's very goal-oriented. I'm really interested to see where this story goes from here. We know that eventually the God Valley incident will happen, and now we also got some insight, actually, into what the treasure of Full Lead is. So there's a gold lode, which, I mean, I assume, like, it's another translation of gold vein. So there's a massive gold mine under Full Lead. So the island is a huge source of gold, which could probably disrupt the economy of the world of One Piece, which is probably why the world government wants it. And then we learned from the Kuma's flashback a little bit during the God Valley incident that the world government stole the treasure of Full Lead, which makes me wonder if they stole all the gold that was in Full Lead, which is what sparked the Rox Pirates to go to God Valley to try to get it back from the Celestial Dragons. At least that's one interpretation. It could be very wrong. There could be another treasure on Full Lead. Who knows what that might be? The popular theory is that it was the Devil Fruits that got used as the pirates, as the prizes in God Valley, but I don't really super subscribe to that theory. It feels a little bit oddly specific. I feel like if they just had those fruits on Full Lead Island, they would have just eaten them. It's like, that's my Occam's razor for that. Now, if they were stockpiling gold, I could imagine them using that, spending that, but gold is something that can be taken, distributed, and like, it's not exactly like, it's heavy currency. It's not exactly something that you can really do much with. And it would be unrefined gold at that. It would just be like mined gold. Yeah, here it is. Gonzui is the one that says it. Turns out there's a gold lode under that island. Government's seeing red. So yeah, other highlights. Obviously this big meeting. We finally got the reveal of Wang Zhi. I'm looking forward to a 20-minute video by Matt Crawford also known as Tekking 101, where he's going to talk about Wang Zhi for 20 minutes, possibly 40 minutes, and he's going to show this image of this panel for a long, 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 long time. But that's going to be stuff I'm going to look forward to in the future. I'm still really waiting for us to get back to the present day. There's a whole lot that needs to be done in the present day, but we still probably have 1, maybe 2 more chapters of this flashback. We need to basically get into the downfall of Rox, maybe a little bit of Loki growing up, and then we eventually need to end on what happened 14 years ago at Aris Castle. We started there, we have to end there. So the real question is how long it'll take us to get there. We got a whole lot of insight into Rox this chapter, more than I ever hoped we would ever get. It does feel like it was kind of shoehorned in, but at least it's connected to Loki's inspiration. This is what basically made Loki want to join the Roxas crew. He does feel like he was born in the wrong era. And technically, he's correct. If he was his dad, he's basically saying he would have made the decision his dad did not. He would have joined Rox. He would have tried to take over the world. And I imagine if Harold made that decision, we might see a very different history. There is an old series that I hope that Tekking brings back of One Piece What If. I hope he does a really large What If. Maybe Grand Line Review will do it too. A big What If of what happens if Harold joins Rox. Definitely it'll destroy any of their reputations that Harold has basically spent the last 45 years building up. But in a different world where let's just assume Harold is completely evil and has the same mentality of Rox, he instead conquers and steals all of the technology and skilled craftsmen of the other world instead of allying with them to get those materials and techniques. He eventually meets up with Rox at the world government of Mary Joa, where the two of them team up and begin their conquest of the world. The Rox pirates could probably start using Elbaph as a base, with another base on Full Lead, where it becomes the economic heart of their entire operation, and then they seize the entire New World before the crew grows and expands, and then starts going after all the Four Blues and the Grand Line, eventually toppling the Navy, followed by the world government. That's my little idea for the what-if scenario. That being said, other highlights I should probably mention is we do see the confrontation between Zebek and Emu, something I didn't think would have happened. He saw Emu, he knew there was a ruler of the world, and he saw a character who might be Gunko? It doesn't have a box. I think we're just meant to assume it's Gunko because they have heterochromia with 2 different colored eyes. And then everything else I feel like we covered in pretty good detail. Anyway, that's going to be all for this stream, but there's a lot more in the pipeline to look forward to. I still have the Fate collab stream recorded, so I'm going to have to edit that up, and that'll probably be the next thing I edit to put out before I end up doing other things. We do have a few more planned streams. I'm going to finish the DeWall storyline. Apparently my dinner got on my piece of paper, so if you want to know what this piece of paper means, you should go watch my playthrough of the Shadowverse story, which, now that I say that out loud, I realize I haven't edited it yet. So that particular chapter will be what I probably edit 2 days from now, and it'll probably be out. And I'll try to get it out on Wednesday. But don't hold me to that. There's not a lot of editing that goes into the Shadowverse stuff. I really like doing Shadowverse stuff because, like, it's mostly a visual novel. I don't really have to do a lot of fancy editing. It's mostly just recording, me exposing my thoughts, similar to what I'm doing here, except you have better visuals except staring at my green screen back here where you can't really see anything because I'm covering up the chapter because Viz will take down this video if I start showing panels too much. So yeah, stuff to look forward to in the pipeline. Fate collab with Honkai Star Rail. I tested out the new endgame mode in Genshin Impact. That'll probably be out in a day or two. And I'm going to be doing another stream this week where we stream the ending of DeWalt's story in Shadowverse. Long story short, if you want to know when all of that's going to happen in closer and more detail, you should probably follow me on Discord, where you can chat up with me and find out what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. Anyway, stay safe, everyone. I will see you all in another stream. Bye-bye.